I will tell you what today told me. Today told me that you can take an incident and twist it and turn it to whatever way you want to look at it. My purse was sitting right alongside of me. Mr. Fink picked up a book. I don't think it was quite as thick as this one, equivalent to. He did not pass it. He did not hide it. He took it, and I can't even do it because I have two bad wrists. But he took it and he flung it backhanded, and it landed right there on my purse.
No, absolutely not. Absolutely
That's
not.
exactly the same.
Absolutely.
I have been called
Wrong.
literally a liar on your
Call the
table.
question on the
And
floor.
thank you for apologizing, but again, it just, this goes on and on to me. And it's the perception of what other people saw. I wish it had been on film, actually. And quite truthfully, I did get called right away. And I don't know how the word gets out on this stuff. I got called by the newspaper. And I told her, I said, I don't believe that this raises to the level of something that is newsworthy. That's exactly what I told her. Then I got an email from WTIO saying, I hear you got a book thrown at you. Are you okay? And I emailed back and I said, I'm fine. You want to talk about it? You know, fine. She called me. And I told her what happened. And that's it. I wasn't trying to make a media circus out of anything. What I am trying to do is, I have had, I don't know how many emails and telephone calls from our own employees, not about this incident, but about the general demeanor and what goes on the board, and how it is affecting the way they do their jobs in their departments, the way they are treated by their supervisors. They are emulating the behaviors that they are seeing on our board. And it is time to stop it. That's all I am trying to do. It is time for us to start thinking about it. And yeah, we all do it. When we agree with something, our heads are shaken one way. When we disagree, our heads are shaken the other way. I have body language. I would be a horrible poker player. In fact, people love to play poker with me because I can't keep a straight face. We do a great job, and I have everywhere I go, in the coffee shops to meetings, everywhere I go. I talk about, despite all the things that we have going on in our personal life and in our board life, we still all do our jobs. We get out to the meetings. We perform here. We did whack out, and I thank our administration, and I thank all of our department heads for the kind of work they put into our budget this year. When I sat at a meeting a few weeks ago with a number of commissioners over at the corrections conference and heard what their numbers were like and what they were having, it was 9 and 10 and 12% increases in their budgets. The worst one I heard was 20%, and we are under 5%. We have done a yeoman's job of making sure that we are looking out for every dollar that we can out of the budget. That wasn't what this is about. It isn't. It's we've got to find a way to, and you didn't apologize. Commissioner Fink, you came up to me and said, about that book throwing incident, if I meant to hit you, I would have. That is not an apology. Wouldn't you turn around and walk away if somebody said that to you by way of an apology for something that was going on? Tell me honestly, in your heart of hearts, would you not turn around and walk away? That's all I'm saying. This behavior's got to stop. The hammering on the table, the throwing of things, those kinds of things. Yeah, we're passionate. Paul Wellstone is a hero of mine. I have known him before anybody else ever knew him. I knew him when he was just a professor down at the college, coming to his very first DFL meeting. He had passion. I've got passion. And I can show my passion without throwing something at somebody, without throwing a book on the table, without slamming my hand on the table. All of those things are intimidation tactics. And if you don't get that, folks, then we all need to go to some training on what is intimidating behavior, what is appropriate behavior, what's business-like, that's what's missing, that's what's happening here. And you can call it, I need to steal myself, I need to do, no, we need to quit this stuff. And I'll remove my motion because it isn't going to go anywhere. And accept his apology, and let's move on. Let's not talk about that anymore. But let's all of us try to be more aware of the things that we do and what they do to other people when we do them.
Thank you, Commissioner Sweeney. Commissioner Forsman.
Okay. Did we get reports?
Move to adjourn. Move to adjourn. Steve made a legitimate motion. Is there support? Is there support?
I have a motion to bring forward, so I would ask.
Okay, Commissioner Forsman, then we'll continue, and Commissioner Nelson.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. I did want to report on that Transportation Alliance, but I cannot go without, first of all, saying that I'm sorry I slammed my hand on the table. I learned it from Paul Wellstone and Commissioner Sweeney when he first made his first appearance, and he was nobody yet. My brother and I sat with him in Hibbing at the table, at a breakfast table. Nobody even paid attention to him because he wasn't even a serious contender for U.S. Senator then. So, I mean, you may have known him the longest, but it's again debatable. But just so it's said that he was a hero of mine. And I did see him slam his hand on the table many times. I saw him do many of those things. But I apologize for showing my passion. It's something I learned as the oldest of 10 kids. Sometimes you got attention that way, and maybe I was all wrong, and I probably learned wrong in the family that I grew up in. So I'll just apologize, and I do. And I'll try not to do it again. But one of the things that I have to say this, because when I listen to Commissioner Sweeney talking about how dysfunctional his board is, I don't see your name in the paper every day being attacked by the same group out of Duluth and everything else. I see my name there for wearing dark glasses it's a safety thing with me. When I'm down in Duluth, I mean, hey, if I look at somebody even wrong, I know that these people, if I even threw my book this far, it'd be in the paper. So, I mean, every day my name is in the paper. So why should I'm not seeing your name in the paper. All of this said is that I sent a confidential email to Dick Griffin. I plan on bringing it up when we do go into the sexual harassment policy. But I think 2 paragraphs out of this are worth reading at this time in this relationship. And this is, the first paragraph says, this is a follow-up email I mentioned in my confidential email of 9/12/07. First of all, you need to know that I do not take true sexual harassment or harassment lightly. I absolutely abhor the thought of men or women taking advantage of positions of power to obtain sexual favors, gratification, or intimidation. Certainly, this type of behavior has been demonstrated from the highest levels of government, such as the seduction of a 19-year-old intern by President Clinton, to Marshall Hamburger, editor of the Timberjay, telling me how his mother was chased around a desk by a state senator and nothing happened, to the terrible injustices to women that occurred at Evelyn Mines in the private sector. There's a number of, it's 2-page thing. The other paragraph I think is real important because it relies on just what we're seeing today. That book landed on my hat. I pulled it off of my hat. It never got to your thing. It never got to your purse, which was way over there. And perception. One of the problems I see with the St. Louis County policy is that it relies on the perception of the complainant, which is totally unfair to the respondent. One complainant saying that she felt the respondent was ogling her was certainly her perception, but I don't believe it was the truth. An old story best illustrates how this can work. The story goes like this. A woman is at her psychiatrist and he shows her a series of standard ink blots. On the first one she says, "Well, that's a keyhole. When you look through it, there are people having sex with wild abandonment." On the second, she says, "That's a large-shaped bed with many couples having an orgy on it." Similar responses are given on the other ink blots. Her psychiatrist told her, "You seem to have an unhealthy obsession to sex," to which she responded, "What do you mean? You're the one showing me all the dirty pictures." That's an old